Well, just a shop update. I'm kind of in between things right now. So this is pretty much the same as it's always been. I got my pressure washer, which I've used twice so far in the shop here. Once to blast out the knee on the milling machine, and then once on the lathe to blast out the oil reservoir so I can get it ready for synthetic coolant. So nothing really much has changed over here. Still got my camera rig there, which I haven't been using because there's battery needs to be replaced. I'm having to reset all the settings every time I turn it on, and so I've just been using my phone, as you all know. Yeah, nothing much to change over here. Still have to fix the press and that. I'm gonna have to get another drill bit. What I think I'm gonna do on that is I'm gonna weld that hole down and then re-drill it. I'm gonna add weld down here to kind of tighten it up, and it's quite possible that I'm gonna add weld on the out there to kind of thicken it up, and then I'll re-drill it. We'll get the ram remounted. I still have to get new lines because these Chinesium lines are leaking. They can't handle the pressure. Got a nice piece of 4140, and I got it at a scrap price, so I'm like really happy about that. It's a good size piece. Don't know what I'm gonna use it for yet, but gonna be nice to have on hand. Still got my scrap over there I'm gonna deal with. So got my MIG welder, and that's actually a 220 volt, 250 amp welder. I've got scrap I-beam that I've been welding on, and it's welding it pretty well. So I'm pretty impressed. I got my oxyacetylene all set up. Some of the tips, like the Rosebud, works fine, but the cutting torches that came with the setup I got are not working. We'll go over that in a minute. Still waiting to finish this off, which will be done hopefully sometime early summer. And I still don't know what I'm gonna do with that hunk of junk. I don't know whether I should attempt to fix it and get it working, or just go ahead and get rid of it and find another. I really desperately need a working cutting saw. This is really a frustrating bunch of doohickey. I need one more tank. That one is 80/20 argon CO2 for the MIG, and the one behind it is 100% argon for the TIG. So I need to get a 90% argon, 10% CO2, or higher percentage argon, lower percent CO2 to do the hot spray welding with the MIG. And I'm gonna need to do that before I can go forward with the alterations on that. And these are the cutting torches I got, and they're leaking, and I can't find parts for them. You know, just another one of those things I spent my money on, found it on the marketplace. You know, I was told, hey, it's great, works great, awesome setup, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I get it home and find out that, nope, not at all. This is leaking oxygen. This one just doesn't even work. I mean, it's got inside that rubber seal there's a metal chip. I don't know how it got in there, but it's embedded in there. And plus the rubber's hardened. That rubber needs to be replaced. I can't find what the make and model is of this. That's about all the information I got. There's an M on there. So what I'm probably gonna have to do with this one, either give up on it, or I could machine a mold for the dimensions of the rubber seals. Don't know if I'd be able to do that with this. I have to look at it because this looks like this rod screws into this. That rubber material that's no good is embedded in this cap piece, so I gotta kind of get an idea. But what I'll probably do, because I can get the rubber that I can cast, so I'll probably have to make a mold for those seals and recast it or whatever to get this working. It may have to be the same with this. This is a Presto Weld, and ESAB bought Presto Weld. I have emailed them and they have not emailed me back. So I don't know if I can get a rebuild kit for this or not, and it's leaking from here. So I don't want to get too far into this quite yet until I've got that addressed, and I'm not deciding whether I'm just going to buy another one of these and just replace that altogether, or this is pretty chambered out of here. But this has to be settled before I can finish working on press, because as you can tell, that back there is bent, so I've got to heat straighten that. I got this project I'm working on, which is going to be for the Weber. This is going to be a hamburger patty smasher, and since that doesn't work, I don't have a way to cut this out. I was going to use the little cutting torch there, but you know, that doesn't work. So I'm going to get a cutting blade for the jigsaw and just cut that out that way until I can get something going so that I can cut metal here. And I still have to build my welding table. Now that I got the MIG welder, I will be making a project of that this summer, and so I can get this table saw out of here. So nothing much has changed over there. I'm still planning on tearing that portion of the wall out and going to build back there. I'm going to have to lay a concrete foundation from, you know, there all the way to the back wall. It'll go 5 feet out, and then I'll be building the back area, which is going to become the tool room, so I can get rid of a lot of this stuff. I'd like to possibly put the grinder, that's got to get put on a pedestal this summer. Finally, I've got tubing for that, and so I'm thinking I'll possibly have the grinders in that room to keep the dust kind of isolated in there. Toolbox will go in there, you know, things like the vacuum and the ladders and the odd stuff I need out of here will go in there. Still need to deal with that mess. Got to do something about these chucks, so I get that all cleaned up. Those windows are going to come out, and I'm going to build pop-outs, which are going to be shelves for things, and I think this one is going to be for my books. That one will be for whatever else. I modified my shelf there. I'm gonna have to put another cable in the center because, you know, got it sagging because of the stereo I put there. And I got my 3D printer out. I've made some modifications to it. You know, this has been sitting for a couple years, and this is why is here. I bought these isolators, these rubber dampeners, to put in here to kind of dampen the motor vibrations. As you can see, it's hitting. So I need to take a grinder or a cutter wheel and just kind of grind this lip area down so it'll clear this motor. That's all I need to do to get this fired up again. This will be inside the house though. I'm not gonna keep it out here. Already got the isolator on there. It's not in the way of anything, but yeah, it's been sitting too long. I need to get it going again so I can start doing 3D prototyping of stuff. So that's the current project I'm working on right now. And I'm still working on the lathe. I've got the oil sump cleaned out. It's ready for the synthetic fluid. Got the pump all hooked up, and I've got that all ready to go, hooked up to a Harbor Freight magnetic base, which is pretty much all that Harbor Freight magnetic base is good for. Just trying to grind. I had the tool post grinder set up to grind on this, but it's getting a lot of chatter because this motor produces a lot of vibration. So I think that this is going to end up being a lost cause. So I'm probably going to go ahead and package this back up and put it up on eBay and sell it, because I can't deal with the vibrations that this is producing. And I've got this on the lowest setting, so it's nice and slow. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to get a small 5 or 6 inch bench grinder. I'm going to modify it. I'll take the compound slide off and modify the cross slide to mount that on here, because I'll get the benefit of a bigger, broader, heavier wheel without the vibrations that this produces. And then I need to regrind this shaft, because this precision ground shaft that was certified from McMaster ripoff car, the rod, an 18-inch rod, has a nice bow in it, and it was throwing me off because I was trusting the rod. I've got a set true chuck. I'm trying to center my chuck and get it centered, and I couldn't get a decent reading because I'd sweep the indicator across here because I want to see what kind of run out I'm getting or not, and I get it zeroed here, and it's like almost 10 thousandths off over here. So it took a while, and then I realized, well, maybe I better check this. So went over to my trusty lab grade surface plate, gave it a roll across the plate, and what do you know? Wonk, 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 right across the plate. Got it remounted. I got this centered according to here. I indicated here and recentered the chuck. And so this is going to get reground until it's perfect, and I've got a perfect finish on it. And then I'm going to cut it. Then the remainder of this rod will go into the scrap pile, and then this pin will go back in the chuck, and then I will re-center again this chuck to make sure I've got this perfectly centered before I do any more work on this lathe. And then I'll be able to trust this. So this is kind of the nightmare that I keep dealing with in this shop. One thing after another keeps going wrong. So other than that, I'm going to be working on change gears for this summer. I only need actually one change gear, and that's a 33 tooth, which I don't have. I have a 30 tooth on there. The other 2 gears on there will be fine, and then I'll be able to do all of the ASE standard type threads that's on these charts. So I'm only 1 gear down. I don't need a whole set of gears like I thought I would. And with that pretty much solves all the issues on this lathe, with the exception of a center support, which I'm going to make at some point to support large work sticking out. Eventually, I have to make a new base plate for this because this isn't the right tailstock. It's a Takasawa tailstock for this type of lathe, but this came off of a different lathe, and so that doesn't center to that. So I had to shim it to get it centered, and I had to scrape the shim in so that I got it nice and flat and perfect, which was a nightmare job. So there's that. I don't know what I'm going to do about this tool post issue. I'm going to have to stick with this for now. And as far as this T-nut, I think I'm just going to go ahead and tap it out to fit this. Once I have the funds to upgrade to the larger CXA tool post, I'll just go ahead and cut another T-nut. So I think that's right, because I can't really afford to replace. I got a whole bunch of tooling for this, and I just don't have the money to replace all this. I'm not rich. I work for a living. So otherwise, that's pretty much where I'm at. That's the state of everything right now. So I got my work cut out for me this summer. Gonna try to get it all done. I have a product ready, which is why I need to get that lathe done, which is why I need the coolant in there. The product that I'm gonna be working on is going to be made out of aluminum. So I want to use the synthetic water-based coolant on that. That first product is gonna hopefully be ready for market by the end of summer. I have to set up an anodizing station in my basement, and I need to contact a company about packaging, and I need to have nice, pretty packaging so I can sell a nice, pretty part. And I'm not sure how much that's gonna cost, but I figure all that's gonna take me probably till the end of summer. I was hoping to have this ready by June, but here we go. So once that is ready and on the market, then I have a series of other products that I'll be developing. I'm not going to be filming anything I'm doing with these products. I'm not going to be promoting these products on this channel. That's not what this channel's about. That part, this shop is for a business, and the business end of this is personal and private. What I video here is for just entertainment stuff, and that's it. I will have some projects this summer that I'm going to do with my dad's old hover round chair. That's going to get altered and turned into a remote control all-terrain vehicle that can do things. And then I'm thinking about something to do with the motorcycle. I don't know yet. We'll get to that sometime this summer and kind of figure that out then. That stuff I'll definitely be filming. And other than that, I think that's pretty much it for now. That is the state of things, as it were. And this is pretty much my shop filled out. I do need to get a surface grinder still, which is going to go against that wall. I don't know how long it's going to take me to save up the money to get that. Surface grinders aren't cheap, but I'm not considering my shop complete until I have that surface grinder. And I think it's kind of important, you know, if I'm going to be making my own tooling, you know, there's a certain amount of tooling I can make on these machines. For other types of tooling where I need the high precision, I got to have that surface grinder. You know, if I want to make parallels for the milling vise, I definitely got to have that surface grinder. If I'm going to make a sign plate, you know, that adjusts or whatever, I'm going to need a surface grinder. So, and then the forge there is still a project that's going to get done. I've got the new refractory in those boxes right there put in there, so I can get that up to a high temperature without destroying because that refractory that's on there now is not going to hold up at, you know, 2200 degrees. That refractory back there will, and so it'll reinforce that and make that pretty solid. That's pretty much it. That's the shop update. Be sure to hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.